for Meal. I'm Brent Musburger. Dick, I think a lot of folks are surprised, but you said Gene Stallings' defense is pretty good.
They're good, but the offense is banged up. They don't have Green, the big point guy, and it's hard to score enough points to win. That's all there is to it.
Well, the Giants had to settle for a couple of field goals, and they lead at 6-3. Let's get you up to date. A shocker again coming from the Eagles on the road against unbeaten Atlanta. They lead by 10 points, and Dan Henning is finding out that Buddy Ryan's run defense is setting up everything for the Eagles. Botched up handoff here, and it is recovered by the Eagles, and the defense picked the tempo up because that was a possible Atlanta score. Then Riggs left with a concussion, and he has not been back. And the Eagle offense put together a touchdown right here, Dick.
Jaworski executes nicely an inside the 20-yard line pass to Mike Quick, the left-hand corner of your screen. Diving catch. That's the reason he's an all-pro.
And McFadden kicked a 31-yarder to make it 10-0. Luckhurst has missed a couple of field goals for Atlanta. New England all over Miami. It's going to be a terrible year for the Dolphins, but the Patriots have lost Tony Eason, shoulder injury. He has gone for an X-ray, and Steve Grogan will play in the second half. The Raiders in Kansas City. The Chiefs hit the Raiders with 17 unanswered points, largely because of Raider turnovers. Then the Chiefs turned one over, and the Raiders got on the scoreboard. Washington and New Orleans, and the Redskins, one of the 4 unbeaten teams left in the league. They are down in the Superdome, and the big man is George Rogers. He's doing a job for Coach Gibbs, Dick.
He is. Now watch here, Brent, the power of the big man going into the end zone. He smells that goal line. You can't stop him.
Then they were looking for him on this play.
They throw the pass to Monk. Looks easy this way, doesn't it?
Sure does. And Morton Anderson, a 45-yard field goal, runs his streak to 20 straight field goals. That's 3 behind Mark Mosley's record. Cleveland and Pittsburgh, and Gerald McNeil, the Ice Cube, he stands all of 5'7". He returned a kickoff 100 yards for the Browns to put them ahead of the Steelers 17-14 at the half. Detroit all over Houston. Hippo went to Hunter from 18 yards out late in the second quarter, and that gave the Lions the edge in that game. Cincinnati has jumped on Green Bay. Brooks from 9 yards out pushes that to 20-7. Minnesota and Chicago. The Bears lead the Vikings 10-0. Bear defense held the Vikings to 38 yards in the first half. Jim McMahon didn't appear to have a sore arm here, Coach.
No, he hits Ortega down a 50-yarder, puts him right on the 2-yard line, gives now the man a chance to take it in.
And you know who that is, Walter Payton. And this is his 6th touchdown of the season. They weren't even using the fridge to open the hole. He can still score without it. So it is 10-0.
That's an easy call.
It sure is. Last week here on CBS Sports, we had a poll. Do you favor instant replay? We had an amazing turnout. 174,000 of you took the time to call on the telephone or register your vote. Those who want to keep instant replay just as it is, 51,000. Keep it but revise it, 78,000. Throw it out, 45,000. The final percentages look like this. Keep it but revise it, 45%. And we want to thank all of you who participated in that poll last Sunday here on CBS. And the NFL Today will continue right after these messages from your local stations. Welcome back to New York. And you know, coming up a little bit later today on CBS, most of you are going to be seeing the unbeaten Denver Broncos host the once-beaten Dallas Cowboys. The rest of you will watch Tampa Bay against the Los Angeles Rams. But the Cowboys, they're without Danny White today. They're without Tony Dorsett, but they do have Herschel Walker. And that gamble to draft Walker is already paying off. In fact, as Gary Paul Gates found out this week, Herschel's presence in Dallas has given Cowboy fans such a lift that they're now looking toward a future as bright as their not-too-distant past. A time when Dallas and the rest of Texas had struck it rich.
Back in the 1970s, the eyes of Texas were glowing with dollar signs. While the Yankees up north suffered through gas shortages, Texans were swimming in black gold. And no oil baron had more fun than J.R. Ewing, the dude with the all-American sneer. Except perhaps the state's other great source of power, the Dallas Cowboys, who rolled to 3 Super Bowls in 4 years. Well, times have changed. The oil boom went on to become the oil glut. Texans are no longer building castles in the sky, and the Cowboys also have been brought down to earth. But here in Dallas, where pride and swagger are a way of life, the folks don't like to admit that.
It's almost like the bragging Texan who will talk about the economy around here, and he'll say, we don't have a recession, but our boom is not quite as good as it used to be. Well, that can almost equate to the Cowboys.
In the 80s, others lowered the boom on the Cowboys. They usually made the playoffs, but in Dallas, that's not good enough.
The only measurement of a successful season was a Super Bowl. Maybe we pressed ourselves a little, and I hope that, and I think that we've gotten back down to reality and have done things, you know, very staid, like drafting Herschel Walker.
There's nothing staid about the world Herschel now finds himself in. Out of this down-home setting came the first generation of Cowboy stars, like Dandy Don and Big Bob Lilly. In those days, Texas could also boast of politicians who were homegrown. But the current favorite son is a New England native, who, in the view of some fellow Texans, is all hat and no cattle. And over the years, the Cowboys were recast in a new image.
White hats and, you know, crooked smile, straight teeth, Sunday school. That's been the image. It hasn't always been true, but that has been the image. Vanilla ice cream.
They are the Dallas Cowboys, America's team.
So far, everyone has said I'm fitting into that image. This is a class organization, and, you know, it's one of the few places I've been where people really brag about the state they're in. You know, they brag about, let's brag about Texas, let's brag about the Cowboys. And, you know, I think just by listening to that, that just shows that you're in a great place.
And so we asked these Midnight Cowboys what they think of their new hero.
I think he's the answer to a lot of Dallas's problems in the past.
He reminds me just bulldogging like Walt Garrison. I mean, he just goes after it.
If we're going to be successful in the next years, I think we've got a pretty good start in a player like Herschel Walker, because he's the type that you have to have if you're gonna win the big one.
For CBS Sports, I'm Gary Paul Gates.
Well, Irv Cross is with us now from Denver. Irv, what do the other Cowboy players think of Herschel and that big contract?
Brent, you know, it would be an understatement to say the Cowboy players and staff are ecstatic about having Herschel Walker here. Forget about the contract. They really like him. He's a personable young man. He has great work habits. He's the first one in team meetings, take notes on everything, and he's trying to do everything he possibly can to contribute to this ball club. He's a complete team player, and they love him.
All right, Irv. Coach Vermeil, have we overhyped Herschel Walker? How good a football player can he be in the NFL?
Well, I don't think we've overhyped him. Tom Brookshire and I had an opportunity to really spend some time with him a few weeks ago, and he leaves you with the impression that he has the personal stability to handle all this hype and really do a super job with it.
All right, thanks, Dick. And right now, let's send you back to the stadium and the game you're enjoying on CBS.
Halftime, the Giants leading the Cardinals 6-3, and Hank Stram in time of possession. It was the Cardinals, but, you know, last week, Phil Simms had 286 yards passing, only 45 at the halfway point here.
I think that the St. Louis Cardinals, they use a lot of man-for-man coverage, and they're disguising the coverages very well. I think the problem with both teams, really, they're doing a very poor job on 1st and 10. For example, the Cardinals are averaging 1.5 on 1st and 10, and the New York Giants are only averaging 3 yards on 1st and 10. Both teams have to do a much better job on 1st and 10 to do a more efficient job of moving the football in the second half.
Hank, the Cardinals need better field position. They've not had it in the first half. On the other hand, you see here, the Giants have had very good field position.
Well, that's the problem. I think that Coach Parcells has to be disturbed about the fact that, you know, good field position is important, but only important when you make points. And they haven't been able to do that. They have to take advantage of those opportunities, or else it's going to be a tough afternoon for the New York Giants in the second half.
Giants looking for their 4th straight win. They lead at the halfway point, 6-3. CBS Sports coverage of NFL football will continue after this message and a word from your local station.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Miller Lite. For great taste, there's only one light beer. MCI Communications for the next 100 years. And by Chrysler Motors and its automotive divisions, Chrysler, Plymouth, Dodge, and Dodge Trucks, working together to be the best.
Busch Stadium, St. Louis. Arapastasis will be kicking off to the Giants. McConkey along with Mark Collins back deep. 6-3. The Giants in the lead. McConkey's going to bring it out. And the former midshipman from Navy brings it out to the 20-yard line where Carl Carter makes a stop. And Phil Simms will bring his troops in there. Simms, coming into this game, had thrown a touchdown pass in 9 straight. And, of course, not getting a touchdown in that first half.
You know, McConkey is basically fundamentally sound as he is, and everything that he does, it's amazing. Every time he runs to the left, he's got the ball in the wrong arm. He has it in the right arm, Gary. And, you know, it creates a lot of fumble situations if you're not careful.
From the 20-yard line, Bobby Johnson in motion. Joe Morris, who was shut down in that first half and continues to be shut down. Now Bubba Baker. Hank, Bubba Baker's playing a whale of a game thus far. He's been all over the place.
I was just standing on the sideline yesterday watching practice, and he was talking to some of the other defensive linemen, and I was really impressed with the attitude he had about the team being called quitters last year. He kept belaboring that point at the sideline, and he looks like he's playing with a lot of emotion here this afternoon.
6'6", 270. He made the stop there, a loss of a yard. Second down and 11 now for the Giants. Sims with protection. Carthon, the fullback, caught it, and he'll make it out to the 22-yard line. Maurice Carthon only had 3 catches prior to that one. They do not throw to him all that much. His main asset, a punishing blocker. He'll knock people backwards. He'll exit the game, and it's going to bring up 3rd down and still 8 yards to go. Carthon played for the New Jersey Generals of the USFL. Joe Morris loves to have him in that backfield with him.
You know, I can't understand why they haven't thrown to the tight end more than they have so far, Gary.
Only 1 catch by Bavaro. He came in with 25, an NFC leading figure. Sims, and there's what you were talking about, and they cannot make the connection. Bavaro covered very effectively by Leonard Smith.
And they got the situation they wanted. They wanted Bavaro to work on Leonard Smith, number 45, man for man. The ball was thrown a little bit high, but usually he sucks those right up.
Well, the Giants, who started so effectively in the second half last week, misfire on their first series, and Bavaro doesn't say an awful lot. He just plays hard.
It looked like he was slow getting his hit around that time and didn't see the ball quickly enough.
Vendetta to Chaz Fox from the 31. And Fox again doing a good job, brings it out to the 35-yard line. There's a penalty flag back at the 25, however. Chaz Fox, for a guy who has not had that much playing time, has shown some pretty good decision-making as far as returning punts. That was a 47-yarder. They're going to bring it back. Chaz Fox comes from a very interesting background, Hank. He's a
number 52 kicking team. Illegally downfield, 5 yards, 4th down.
He is an Air Force brat. His father, Charles, is a colonel and commander at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Ohio. He was Furman's all-time leading receiver, was drafted in the 4th round by Kansas City, and Cardinals feel fortunate they got Chaz Fox, as desperate as they are for wide receivers.
Well, you know, one thing, that's a good way to look at it, but on the other hand, they have J.T. Smith, and he was cut by the Kansas City Chiefs playing as a regular here, and now they got Fox, and he was cut by the Chiefs, so
what does that say?
What does that tell you?
So Landetta will punt it again. Fox calls, make that Sikahema calls for the fair catch, and he took off afterwards. Let's look at the drop again. A little coaching here from Henry Stram on the drop of the football for Landetta.
Well, it's no coaching, except it's a good observation here to see how well he drops. Look at how flat. Look at how even he drops the ball. Look at the drop. Hits it right on the instep perfectly and gets off a great kick. But he drops the ball as well as anybody I've seen in a long, long time.
You know, you're one of the few coaches, Hank, that'll talk to kickers. When you go over, you love to talk to them, don't you? Visit with them.
Well, nobody spends much time with kickers. They all say we don't bother the kickers because we don't want to ruin their kicking style, which I think is an excuse rather than a reason. I think he's a player on your team. You ought to do everything you possibly can do to help him.
On the first down at the 45, Farrell fumbles the football. Lomax appears to have recovered it at the 36-yard line. That was Taylor that came storming through. Collins was there as well. And we have a man shaken up for the Cardinals.
Here's a reverse pivot and a toss to Farrell, number 31. He gets decked on the line of scrimmage. And it looked like Perry Williams came up quickly and made the tackle.
That's J.T. Smith, Hank, that's shaken up.
Yeah, and the ball was popped out of there and recovered, it looked like, by Neil Lomax.
Well, I don't need to tell you they can't afford to lose another wide receiver. This is the only experienced wide receiver left, and that's J.T. Smith. So they're going to check him over. Looks like they're holding the left wrist. We'll be back to upgrade his status. 6-3, the Giants with the lead. Taking that left forearm of J.T. Smith. He's come out of the ball game, and a rookie, Troy Johnson, number 87, replaces him, the wide receiver. So 2 rookies been in camp less than 12 days. Now the wide receivers for Neil Lomax. 2nd and 19.
That time Taylor came in the inside. Nobody picked him up, and he got penetration, made the sack.
There's a penalty flag, however.
Watch him. Say he's lined up on the outside and goes inside. Louis Sharp and Kennard missed the assignment. They wound up blocking. 2 guys blocking 1. And as a result, Taylor was wide open on the inside. Here you see him on the inside. Look at that. Kennard and Sharp both wound up blocking Leonard Marshall, and Taylor was left free on the play.
Boy, he was through so quickly. Taylor's won every award possible, every honor. The NFL Most Valuable Player defensively twice, and after that sack, it's now 3rd down and 27 yards to go. The 2nd sack, as you can see, of the day. The Cardinals are in reverse right now. Lomax trying to get it back, overthrows his man, and it's picked off by Kenny Hill. That ball not well thrown. It was Doug Marsh that tied in on the crossing pattern at the 50. The ball was some 5 yards thrown overthrown.
That was a read pattern, Gary. The middle was wide open, and he tried to hit the ball. He made an adjustment, went right down the middle, and look at how high he throws the ball over Doug Marsh, and Kenny Hill, number 48, comes up with the interception. Just a bad throw by Neil Lomax.
It's really the only poor pass he's thrown today. And at the 45-yard line now, after Hill's interception, his 3rd of the year, sets it up at the 45 of the Giants. Joe Morris. Morris still, as Bill Parcells wanted to have happen, hasn't gotten in gear. He hasn't gotten that running form back that was so effective last year. He gets out to the 50-yard line on this one. It'll be 2nd down and 5.
You know, the other thing, Gary, the St. Louis Cardinals are playing a lot of man-for-man coverage on 1st and 10. They're 1-on-1 on the outside receivers, and I'm surprised they haven't thrown the ball more on 1st and 10 to their outside people.
Here's Carthon. Fullback takes it to the 46-yard line. Going to be about a yard short of the 1st down. 3rd down coming up. The Cardinals have shut down the run very effectively. They've had the number 1 pass defense coming in here, but I think that's misleading a little bit. When you're number 1 in pass defense many times, and in this case, means that teams are just not having to throw the ball.
Well, they've averaged, you know, team playing against the Cardinal defense, have averaged 36 runs a game and only 21 passes. And so it's very easy to understand why they're doing so well on pass defense, because people don't throw nearly as much, but they're still doing a good job. I don't care what the stats say.
3rd and 1, and Morris will get it. Joe Morris runs over Lionel Washington, who will be credited with the stop. But the former Syracuse standout gets the 1st down, and it will be marked at the 43 of St. Louis. Morris at 5'7", 195. We talked about the fact that he just disappears behind those offensive linemen. But another thing that he seemingly has, Hank, is that ability to bounce off of people like a bowling ball.
Well, you ask big linemen whether they'd rather tackle a great big guy or a little guy, and they all say they'd rather tackle a big guy because it's harder to get low enough to block the little one.
Sims on a 1st down. And he has the completion to Bavaro. Bavaro inside the 30 to the 33, very close to another 1st down.
Now here's a play action fake this time. The backs go one way and Sims goes the other. Watch Bavaro on the right side run a crossing pattern, get behind the middle linebacker in good shape. Nika Noga. The ball is out in front. He makes the reception, and Smith, who is covering him man for man, finally makes the tackle from the backside.
He came in here with 25 catches. The pace he's going, he'd have a 100-catch year. That would be an awful lot to expect. 2 today. He caught 7 last week against New Orleans. He played with a chipped or fractured tooth last week. He got shaken up early, came back in the Saints game. And when Bill Parcells was looking at him when he played at Notre Dame, the scouts told him that he would love him because of his toughness, and that's been the case. There he is right now with 27. He had 25 prior to today's action, and now 1st down at the 33 of the Cardinals.
So they got 1-for-1 coverage in the outside people again. Let's see. Oh, here's a reverse.
Johnson's going to throw it. And a struggle going on. A flag. Lionel Washington, along with Stacy Robinson, contesting for the ball. And I believe it's going to be first and goal at the 1.
It looked like he backed into him. Talking about Washington, 48. Let's see what they call here.
That's what it's going to be.
Yep.
Washington had 2 interceptions Monday night. This time, real struggle going on.
Defense bumped him beforehand. First down.
Boy, is that a costly penalty.
We'll see it again. Watch 48. Here's a reverse. And now the pass. Watch Washington 48 turn and run. The ball is thrown. It's up in the air. And he backs. Yeah, he backs into the receiver. Washington does, and they call pass interference on the play.
After Hill's interception, now the pass interference sets it up first and goal at the 1, and Joe Morris tests the right-hand side. And there's no indication as to whether he got in or not. Giants thought he did. The officials have not substantiated that at all. Trying to find him. Joe's small, but he's not that small. There he is. Touchdown.
You know, one thing about there's a good picture of Gene Stallings. He's got to be disappointed, bitterly disappointed. But here again, he gets good and low and breaks the plane. It's hard to see it, but evidently he broke the plane, and they have another 6 points on the board.
Boy, the penalties have come back to haunt him again, isn't it? That pass interference at the 1. Morris capping it with a 1-yard smash. 5 plays, 55 yards. Allegra to attempt the point after, and he got it down the left-hand side, but between the uprights. 13-3 the score. 9 minutes, 40 seconds to go in the third quarter. Hank, last week it was a strong second-half effort by the Giants. They're starting the second half like they did a week ago.
That's right, and I think that the toughest thing in pro football is to beat the teams that you're supposed to beat. And I don't care how much you talk to your team and what you tell them, it's very difficult for them to understand that it's going to be a tough game. They have to play to the utmost of their capacity, and that's what happens. But the important thing, really the only thing that matters, is you win the game.
Chaz Fox will bring it out. Bill Parcells was quoted as saying, after last week, it tells me we think we're supposed to win. Now, it makes him a little uncomfortable because of that. You get into that mode.
Well, I think the important thing, too, is, you know, as I mentioned earlier, it gives you a reason as a head football coach to harp on your team and get their feet back on the ground and make them realize that anybody can win. They have to play well, and you have to have something to gripe about. But the big thing is that in the process of that growth and development during the course of the season, you've got to still win. And then as long as you win, everything else takes care of itself.
When you won the Super Bowl, did you do much griping at your team that year?
Oh, we squeaked quite a bit. Yeah, there was a lot of squeaking going on. But the big thing is we won 20 of 23 games.
There's a penalty flag as O.J. Anderson carries it out to 29. Is squeaking the same as complaining?
Yep.
This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League and is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals.
10 yards, first down.
And the National Football League is prohibited. So that is Randy Clark, the center, guilty of that penalty. And so it'll come back now to the 17-yard line. And right now, Hank, you get the feeling the Cardinals are saying to themselves, boy, we've been here before. This is deja vu, and they got to fight through that right now.
Well, in this kind of a game, when the underdog team is playing pretty well and playing close, you know, everything's going along fine. But the minute they get behind, then you see another team on the field, and you have to watch what's going to happen from here on in with this Cardinal team, whether they'll continue to play as well as they did in the first half.
First and 20 after the penalty on Randy Clark. Omax will roll out. He gets it off to Anderson. They don't get much on that one, if they got anything.
See, that kind of a play is like throwing marshmallows in a battleship. You know, it doesn't do much good because you roll out, you throw the ball, he catches it, and you wind up with a 1-yard gain.
What was that? Marshmallows at a what?
Battleship.
All they got on that play was nothing. Second down. Second and 19. next Sunday on CBS. Those in the New York area will see the Eagles take on the Giants at 4 o'clock Eastern. Don't forget, it all begins with the NFL today at 12:30 Eastern time. The Eagles righted themselves last week in that victory against Los Angeles. Buddy Ryan may have that team on the way. Second down, still 20 yards to go. Misdirection play, and it gets the pass out to Doug Marsh, and he's very close to the first down. Marsh out to the 37-yard line. Very well executed that time, and Marsh eventually tackled by Terry Kennard.
Yeah, play action fake that time with both the guard and the tackle pulling, and Lomax rolling to his right. Doug Marsh, number 80, was wide open in the seam of the zone. He got the ball right on the numbers, and they pick up a nice gain on the first down on the play.
It is a first down. Marsh has been a starter since his rookie year. He came into the league in 1980. Second-round draft pick for the Cardinals. From the 37, new life now for St. Louis. 13-3. The Giants with the lead. Marsh in motion. Lomax. Oh, what a hit is put on this time. Marsh somehow held on. I don't know how, but he was belted by Perry Williams at the 40-yard line.
Perry Williams hit him square and hit him high and really decked him on the last play right about the time he made the reception. It's a wonder, as you mentioned, that he hung onto the football.
Let's look and listen to it. Let's just not say a thing here. That was even louder that time, wasn't it?
That was a smash. That was a smash.
Second down, 6.
See, they ought to go up on top now. They got one-on-one coverage, man, bump and run defense. He's changing the play. Let's see what he does. He runs the ball.
Boy, you were disappointed. Oh, Jay Anderson.
They had everybody but the defensive coaches coming that time, and he didn't change the ball, change the play. I think there's about 10 shots in a game where you have a chance to make a big play, and if you hit 3 of them, that's 21 points. There's a great illustration. They didn't even take an opportunity to take advantage of that big play.
There's the resume of this outstanding linebacking core. Look at that. 7-time All-Pros, Carson. Taylor 5 times in a row. Reasons. He's probably not as well known as the rest, but he's very smart at that middle linebacking spot. Third down. Lomax. Nice turnaround change of direction by J.T. Smith, and that'll be a first down grab for the 35.
Well, there's another illustration. That time they had one-on-one coverage, the same as they had the time before, and they threw the ball out there and got a big play, you see? You got to take advantage of those opportunities when they come. Look at the pressure. Look at Marshall coming away around the outside. Got time to throw the football, however, and Mark Collins is licked on the play. He gets up and finally makes the tackle from the backside.
That will be a 26-yard completion to the 35-yard line. J.T. Smith, who played so well for the Kansas City Chiefs, kind of a rebirth for him since he's come here to St. Louis. In '81, he was an All-Pro. He had 63 catches for KC. At the 35, first down. Farrell running against the grain and backs close to the 30-yard line. Hank, I think your point's a good one. You know, everybody talks about you play 60 minutes of football, but you only get so many plays. You only get so many opportunities with the field position.
You have to sell your team on the idea that, you know, really in a game, you might get 10 or 12 opportunities for those big plays, and you got to take advantage of it. At least you got to try to make those big plays. You hit 3, you hit 4, that's 28 points.
Opportunities get away from you. You're still waiting to call the play you didn't ever get to.
You're right.
Second down now, 5.
Now here they are, bump and run again, do you see?
Nothing develops. And he gets inside the 30 to the 29. He got all of 2 yards, and it's down to a third down again. Gary Reasons is out of the ball game right now. Robbie Jones, number 51, has replaced him, an inside linebacker. Third down and 4.
I tell you one thing, you can't say enough about how well coordinated that defensive team of the New York Giants is. They're really a great football team. And I think any time that you play that well defensively and your specialty teams are playing well, you got a chance to win everything. You got a chance to win any time you play. And in the meantime, your offense is not hitting on all cylinders, but at least you got something to improve on. And as long as you keep winning, that's really the only thing that really matters.
Defense can keep you close. Here's Lomax on 3rd and 4. He's got Chaz Fox, but he can't shake him. Good defensive effort that time as the coverage didn't materialize very well. As coming Coming over was Perry Williams on the play.
He got a shove coming across. The official did not see it. And Fox was squeaking a little bit about pass interference, but they didn't see it, didn't call it.
So Williams, who had the big hit earlier, this time gets away, as Hank said, with a little extracurricular activity. So we're going to have a field goal attempt coming up. This will be a 47-yarder by John Lee. Lee earlier hitting on one from 30 yards.
And Lee says he thinks he's going to kick much better from here on in because he's finally got a holder. Prior to last week's game, he's had 4 holders: Bruner, Coleman, Austin, and Birdsong.
It's Austin now, who did not hold, by the way, when he was in college. Lee's kick is on the way, and it is good. So John Lee is 2 for 2 today as he makes a comeback. He cuts it down to 13-6 in favor of the Giants. It's got to be a relief, John Lee. He's 2 for 2 today, 1 of 30, 1 of 47 yards. Number 2 draft pick out of UCLA, and we're going to talk more about John as this game goes on, how successful he was in college. Here comes McConkey, and McConkey brings it out to the 30. Talking about John Lee, if you look at his college career, Hank, it was absolutely as perfect as you could probably get. He hit such a high percentage of his field goals. Look at this. College-wise, 85, 80 senior year. Now he's picked it up a little bit. He's 4 of 8. But there's a lot involved in that.
Well, you know, the thing that was interesting yesterday when I talked to him, he said, you know, in college, he said, I had a guy who was on scholarship who just snapped the ball back. I had another guy on scholarship who just was supposed to hold the ball for me. And as a result, everything was very consistent. He said, when I came into pro football, I thought it'd be the same, but really I had guys holding for me that never held before, and guys who snapped the ball who never did it before, and as a result, it's really been a problem. Now he feels, however, that everything is back, should be back in the groove, and he ought to kick very well because finally they have settled on a hold.
2nd and 10. He was giving me static. I did a lot of his college games. He said every time CBS showed up, he said I got psyched out because I didn't kick well on CBS. But that now has gone to the wayside. He's 2 of 2 today.
No, he didn't blame it on CBS. He blamed it on you.
Let's get down to the real bare facts.
Yeah, that's right.
2nd down, 10 from the 30. Flag on the play. Morris, 35, and about a yard short of the first down. But the penalty flag thrown just about the time the play got underway.
You know, I was talking to Johnny Parker on the field before the game, and I said, who was the strongest guys on your team? And he said, Joe Morris, Leonard Marshall, and Jim Burt. 3 of them. Said I didn't want to pick one or the other, but they're all 3 very, very strong.
Now, you wouldn't think Morris would be in that category, would you?
Well, it's surprising, you see, but he's got, you know, he's got such a great torso, short legs. He doesn't have to that high to lift the thing up, you know. But
53 on the defense. Is offside. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
Freddie Joe Nunn guilty of that penalty.
The problem is, you know, a lot of people don't believe in squats, full squats. We believed in them very strongly at Kansas City. We had a great strength coach in Alvin Roy who kind of initiated what's happening in professional football today. Johnny Parker is a student of Alvin Roy, and he's done a remarkable job with these people, but he does a lot of squatting. And remember, you can't shoot a cannon out of a canoe, and so you got to have a good base.
Oh, wait a minute. You got to chase that one back. I didn't catch that one.
I'll talk it, give it to you slowly the next time.
2nd and 5 after the penalty. Morris fumbles the ball at the 40-yard line. I believe it's been blown dead. Yep, down at the point of impact, just short of the 40-yard line. Again, this reminder, coming up, 2nd half of our doubleheader, Game 2, the Denver Broncos, John Elway against Herschel Walker and the Dallas Cowboys. And those of you in the New York area will not see the 2nd game due to the NFL contractual agreement. Danny White not going to play. Tony Dorsett is questionable as Denver off undefeated in the early going. And the Cowboys, of course, have handed the Giants their only loss thus far this year. 3rd down and a yard to go. Mishandled snap, and that's going to cost him, and they're going to have to punt the football. Is Sims able to come up with it?
You know what happened on the play? It looked like, Gary, they came up quickly to go on a quick count, and they were trying to go so quickly that they'd missed the exchange between the center and the quarterback and fumbled the snap. I think that's what happened. He gets under there and starts a reverse pivot, doesn't have possession of the ball, you know, as a quarterback, the first thing you have to do when you get the ball from the center is bring it into your body and then take it back out and hand it. He didn't have a chance to do that, fumble the ball, and as a result, they blow the opportunity to make a first down.
Cardinals figured to come out of here with good field position. That's Sukahima at the 20.
Look at that.
And then he's taking that all the way in the 10 and fumble the ball. The Cardinals are going to get on it. As going down there was Lasker. Lasker was down there so fast that Sukahima had some pressure on him. Carl Carter eventually was able to fall on the football. 41. Let's look at it again.
Carter, I tell you, did a very wise thing in not trying to pick it up and run with it. Watch it. You know what happened that time? It hit his shoulder pads, bounced off, hit him in the helmet, bounced off again. And watch Carter, and watch now. Watch what happens. Look, it hits his shoulder pad, bounces up in the air, hits him in the head. Now watch Carter very wisely, number 41. He didn't try to pick it up. He just lies on the ball, and he has possession, 1st and 10.
But not good field position. Gary Bender, Hank Stram, 1:51 to go in the 3rd quarter. The Giants have the Cards backed up at the 7-yard line.
They're double tight end. Now they've reduced it. This would be a good time to try to get something up on top. They're man-for-man coverage and try to get a big play from down in this territory. Let's see what they do. Nope, counter play.
This time Anderson brings it out to the 10. There's a penalty flag. We may have a face mask on that one. Kenny Hill is over there.
A gum grabber that time, I think, Gary. A gum grabber.
It'll shake your gums up a little bit, won't it?
Yeah, face mask.
That'll be a break for the Cardinals. That'll give them the first down, or what?
Face mask defense on the tackle. It's a 5-yard penalty. Added to the end of the run. Will repeat first down.
Watch the right guard and the right tackle pulling on the play. Lance Smith, number 61, pulling, running to the outside, is able to use his straight arm because he's got the ball away from pressure. There's the face mask penalty, and they get a first down on the play.
They didn't get a first down. The penalty wasn't enough, Hank. So it's first down and a yard to go. I thought that as well. But 5 yards tacked on to the run was not sufficient to be a 10-yard gain. So it's first and a yard. And they will go for that first down. Farrell trying to get it. Kind of had it down to play with their coach, but they wanted to try to get a new series going for him. Fancying it out, it will be 2nd down. They didn't get it. 2nd down, less than a yard to go. That punt a while ago, we should go back. Lendetta's punt, that last one that was handled by Sukahima, was 57 yards. He's averaged 48.6 today.
And the hang time was 5.45. I tell you, he's really a fantastic kicker. Got a great temperament, too, for a kicker. Talking to him on the field before the game, he knows exactly what he wants to do and how to do it, and has a terrific disposition.
On a 2nd down, in a matter of inches, Womack going to throw it to Chaz Fox, but no connection is made.
You know, Gary, one thing about Lomax that I've noticed, I think sometimes you're not careful. You don't know who you are and what your abilities and skill are. He came into the league with great running escapability skill and put a lot of pressure on defenses, and all of a sudden, then you never saw him run very much, and even now he does not run nearly as much as I think he should, because everybody's defense on the offensive part of the football team except one guy, and that's the quarterback, and there has to be a time where he's going to make some big plays on his own, you see, but he is not doing that for the Cardinals. He stays in the pocket basically, and even when he runs with the express purpose of throwing the football.
Of course, if you had a Roy Green and a Pat Tilley out there, you might feel that they could run back and get open on those kind of plays. Maybe he doesn't have that confidence of those other guys.
Well, that's the case. That's the point I'm making. And then he should run the ball more than he has.
See? Did they get the first down here? On a 3rd down and less than a yard. So they tried 2 smashes straight ahead. Neither one of them produced a yard. They're going to have to measure, I believe.
I think as good as this defense of the Giants is, really, that you have to use some misdirection. You have to keep them off balance a little bit with something other than just plain vanilla shots straight at the defense.
Well, Neil Lomax told us they're a little bit vanilla right now due to the fact of the inexperience of the wide receivers. You believe this, Hank? They were first and a yard to go. They had 3 plays, and they're going to have to end up punting the football. That'll come back to haunt you. The big play of this game has been that pass interference call on Washington that set the only touchdown of the game up at the 1-yard line.
See, the thing that this does now, it provides the Giants with good field position again, and here again, the Giants have to do they must do a much better job of taking advantage of field position than they have.
Rapastathis to McConkey. McConkey to the 40, and Rapastathis is over there with somebody else to make the stop just short of the 35. And so the Giants get excellent field position, and the Cardinals let one get away from them. No question about it. 42-yard punt. McConkey with an excellent return to the 36-yard line. Not a lot of passing yards for the Giants, but they're still on top in this game, 13-6.
Yeah, that's the thing, as I mentioned. You know, those stats don't mean a thing. The only thing that matters is win the game. You can always do something about the mistakes. You can't do anything about the score.
Here's Morris, and a penalty flag, 2 of them thrown. Morris to the 35-yard line, picked up about a yard. I just think that the Cardinals really don't believe right now. That 1st and 1 kind of proved that to me. There just didn't seem to be a take-charge situation that last series. That's to be expected. You're 0-4. Things are not going well.
Well, that's a challenge to your offensive line. You know, you got a short yard or half a yard or inches to go. If somehow, some way, that offensive line has got to come off the ball, get a surge, and you got to make the yardage. They just haven't been able to do that.
This penalty against the Giants, a holding call, 10 yards, moves it back now to the 47. It was Nelson and Bavaro both called to that. And we have come to the end of the 3rd quarter with the score. The Giants 13, the Cardinals 6. We now pause for a word from your local station.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Hewlett-Packard, the people who turn your business computing problem into a business computing solution. RCA technology that excites the senses. And by Transamerica for insurance and financial services, the power of the pyramid is working for you.
The Giants have it, 1st down and 20. Sims back, penalty flag. The catch is made by Bob Johnson at the 35-yard line. Lionel Washington making the stop. But the penalty flag back at the 45.
Got to be holding, I would guess, from where they threw the flag. Anytime you see it thrown back there, it's a holding penalty.
So the Giants now having some problems mechanically. That's 2 penalties on this series. They had a 1st and 20 prior to this one. Parcells, who has had a vast career as an assistant in the NFL, head coach at Air Force. We asked him yesterday, Hank, who had influenced him the most.
Offense, 10 yards, 1st down.
He said it was his high school basketball coach, Mickey Corcoran. Said he gave me an attitude of just getting it done. Says so often people have rotating excuses, but a high school basketball coach, interesting. You never know who's going to influence you the most.
Well, you win and lose for the same reasons at all levels of competition. There may be a difference, you know, who you talk to. If they're successful people, they're going to all tell you basically the same thing.
1st and 30. Nikanoga over there to make the stop, the Hawaiian, and we had an interesting story about this guy.
Well, Nikanoga, you know, talking to him yesterday, last year I said, Nika, what do you do during the off season? He says, I get ready for the next season. So when I talked to him the other day, I said, well, what did you do from last season to this season to get ready for the season? Well, he said, I work out 6 days a week for 3 hours a day, and sometimes I get mad at my wife because she doesn't let me work out. I got to run some errands, and I really get mad about that. He said, but that's what I do during the off season. What a guy.
He looks mad all the time to me.
Well, when he started talking about being mad at his wife, I backed away with him. I thought he was going to get back at me.
On a 2nd and 31, Joe Morris gets a bunch of it back to the 45. Larry Wilson, who's the director of their pro scouting for the Cardinals, told me, he said, the first 2 years that Noga reported to camp, they found him sleeping in the lobby. And he came up to him and he says, why do you sleep in the lobby? He says, I do not like the confinement of the room. And so after the 3rd year, they quit getting him a room when he checked into camp. But he's one of those guys who
he's unusual. Yeah, he's very unusual. Now he's in a honeydew diet.
He's a what?
Honeydew diet. His wife says, honey, do this and do that. That's what he doesn't like when he just misses those workouts.
3rd and 19.
Look at the pass protection. Look at all the time he's got to throw the ball.
And he connects, and the ball is jarred loose and picked up by Wayne Smith. So the Cardinals come out of that one in excellent shape. The long gainer. The catch made by Bobby Johnson. Hit from behind, jarred loose, and Wayne Smith fielded it, and the Cardinals have it at the 10.
You talk about how crazy things work out. Look at all the time he's got to throw the ball. He's looking all over the place. He could be in a rocking chair back there and still get it off. Watch, look at all the time. Finally throws over here to Bob Johnson, makes the catch, gets up the field. Watch what happens here. He gets hit from behind by Cedric Mack. The ball pops out of his hand. Smith, number 44, Wayne Smith, makes the fumble recovery, and now it's 1st and 10 St. Louis.
Not to be confused with Ozzie Smith, who's a pretty good shortstop here for the Cardinals. But Wayne Smith in this time picks it up, and at the 10, the Cardinals come out of that one, and they've got to be happy with what developed on that play. Here's Farrell. Farrell for 2. That's about all to the 12-yard line. Don't forget, college football next Saturday here on CBS. Again, Michigan State and Michigan. A battle for the bragging rights in the state of Michigan. Last year, Michigan won. They're unbeaten going into this one. And again, we hate to even think about this, but Lorenzo White is questionable for that game. He sustained a knee injury in the second half. So we'll update you, and hopefully he'll be ready for that one.
I'm going to tell you something, Gary. These linemen in St. Louis are all about 6'3", 6'4". They keep running those same plays. They're going to be about 5'11" after this game.
Not to mention the running back, huh? Second down now, 8 yards to go. Farrell in motion. This is O.J. Anderson. And Otis takes it to the 15-yard line. Perry Williams reading it effectively, and it's going to be a 3rd down and still 5 yards to go.
Coach Parcells, I'd be concerned, because right now, even though they're doing a good job of containing the Cardinals, they're still just one play from being back in the game. It's a very dangerous situation to be in, especially in a game where you're supposed to be winning the game big.
So the Cardinals on a 3rd down will go to the shotgun this time. 3 wideouts on this play. Lomax. That's enough for the 1st down, and a good move then by Marsh, the tight end. And Marsh has the 1st down, and that's going to make Bill Parcells even more concerned.
Doug Marsh comes off the line of scrimmage, number 80. There you see him in the slot with Banks covering him one-on-one. He gets Banks turned to the inside, breaks outside. The ball is low, but he makes the catch, gets up the field, and picks up about 7 more yards on the play.
They had him split out on that play. Using some of his experience, he has 4 catches, you can see.
Well, Banks, you know, they're trying to cover him one-on-one, and that's a tough assignment for a linebacker.
1st down at the 28. Chaz Fox in motion. Anderson will advance to the 30-yard line. O.J. Anderson, 5 100-yard days in previous contests against the Giants. We mentioned he was trying to approach 8,000 yards rushing in his career. Closing in on Larry Zonka in the all-time rushing list. He needed 138 yards in the top 10 to move in the top 10 all-time.
Cardinals, the way that defense of the Giants is chasing, somewhere along the line when they get better field position, they've got to run a reverse, some kind of a misdirection play that give them a chance to make a big play.
Lomax 13 of 22 now for 140 yards. Mishandled snap.
I don't know how you can do that in professional football. I really don't understand that. I really
You have no tolerance at all for that, do you? That's the 2nd time we've seen it today.
It'd be different if the center had to snap the ball back like he used to in a single wing, but the quarterback's right underneath there, you know, and he's telling them where his hands are and everything, and they still can't make the connection and exchange between the center and quarterback. That's hard to believe.
Now, Dawson never had any trouble doing that?
You know, I'm sure, if, you know, be honestly involved in it, I'm sure that there were times when that happened, but very, very few times that ever happened with our football team. We used to spend a lot of time off season just between the center and the quarterback making the exchange. Frank Leahy used to say, you know, I want to do that during the off season so much that the quarterback's hands will bleed. That's how much they worked on.
On a 3rd down and long yardage, Lomax will be sacked for a loss. That's Leonard Marshall. You'll let everybody in that department. Marshall's been a little frustrated this year. He's been getting some double teaming and not getting the sacks that he had early last year, but he got one there.
Well, I think what's happening, they're turning out on the backside with him to make sure they block he and Taylor. Turning out means that the guard will block the defensive end and the tackle will block the linebacker. So they turn out and they don't give him a chance to come off the line of scrimmage as quickly as they'd like to.
He's earned some respect, and he's, as an end result, being paid for it, trying to get to the quarterback. That time he did. That was almost had a block. Just barely got it underway. And Conkey will be dropped at the 36-yard line. Let's look at the block. It was Andy Heddenhank who almost got to the ball.
I couldn't tell again whether he got too deep, but here again, see, he didn't spread out. You got to lay out horizontal to the ground if you're going to block a kick. He was too vertical that time, and that's why he didn't get out in front enough to block the kick. After the fact, they won away from home.
Joe Morris that time off the right-hand side. We have 8 minutes, 48 seconds left in this game. 13-6. The Giants lead the Cardinals. Giants beating St. Louis twice last year. And the ball will be now at the 42-yard line. Second down and 6 coming up. Attendance today, 40,562. This will be the 4th in a row if the Giants win here. And then it's Philadelphia at home. Then they go to Seattle. In motion to Solomon Miller. Morris again. And Morris is close to the 45-yard line, a couple of yards short of the first down, bringing up third.
It's very obvious, talking to Bill Parcells yesterday, that he wanted to get the running backs a lot of work because they missed some practice, specifically Joe Morris. They want to get him back in the groove, get him back in a rhythm, back in sync, and they're going to use as many running plays, I'm sure, as they possibly can to try to improve that relationship with the offensive line and the running backs.
Joe has one 100-yard game this year, 110 against the Raiders. He was 6th in the NFC in rushing coming into today, despite missing last week. Third down and 2. Morris going to try to pick up the first down, and he did, but there's a penalty flag. Did you see how he kind of squatted under on that play? He used that 5'7" stature to good accord.
Well, he was about 3'5" going through that hole that time, as low as he was. But I think there was a holding penalty on the play. Again, anytime you see that flag drop in that area, it's holding.
That's what it is. It's against the Giants, so the first down will be negated, and they'll go the other way. Well, I think you said it well. When you're Bill Parcells' team, you didn't want the Cardinals to stay this close this long, especially when you're on the road.
Holding, offense, number 65, 10 yards, third down.
See, the other thing you don't want to do when you're playing away from home, you don't want to get the crowd to get involved in the game, and this crowd's been in the game all afternoon. They squeaked a little bit during the course of the game, but overall they've been pretty good and pretty receptive to the St. Louis Cardinals, and that's one thing that when you visit another area, you want to get them out of the game as soon as you can.
Giants have had 7 penalties for 50 yards. That's something that Bill Parcells will squeak about when they get into the film session this week. I'm starting to talk like you, Coach. Third down now, 12.
Thank goodness.
Here comes Bobby Johnson and broken up by Lonnie Young. Close, but they didn't get it. Let's go to New York. Here's Brent Musburger.
Well, Gary, the wide receiver who's having a monstrous day is Keith Ortego of the Chicago Bears. 6 catches for 157 yards. This one for 58 yards, and he and Jim McMahon hook up for the touchdown that makes it 20-0. Bears with the lead, about 10 minutes to go. Let's go back to Gary and Hank.
All right, Grant. Ortego was battling for his life to make that Bears final cut, and what a day he's having. So they miss on that third down. Landetta hits it very high. Sukahima has this one. He probably had a chance for a run back there. Very conservatively, he called for the fair catch, and the Cardinals have it at the 20.
I think that ball came down with some ice on it. He kicked it high, didn't he?
Didn't he? 45-yard punt will set it up at the 20. So the Cardinals still in this football game with 7:09 left to go. Busch Stadium, St. Louis, 7:09 to go. The Cardinals 80 yards away. They trail by 7.
I don't think they're going to win the game, run out the middle like they've been doing, Gary. They've got to do something to disjoint that defense a little bit and take some chances to get back in this contest.
You get a little concerned about that, the way they've been trying to do that. Let's see what they do here. Lomax disappears from sight, gets rid of it somehow to Farrell, and they get a yard or two. Harry Carson over there. Carson just seems to get better with age. 7 times in the last 8 years he's been in the Pro Bowl.
Farrell ran like he had snowshoes on that time. It took a long time to get started. I think the fact that he had the flu during the week has weakened him a little bit and slowed him down.
The snowshoes are tough to run in, Coach. 2nd down and 8. Lomax that time was lucky to get rid of the ball. He didn't even appear in sight there for a while, and all of a sudden he shovels one out. There's his stats for the day, the 1 interception. 2nd down, 8 from the 22. Pressure put on. Martin was in his face, but he got it off to Farrell, and the flu-ridden Farrell is very close to the 1st down, and in fact, I believe he's got it.
Pass complete, Earl Farrell. Tackle by Collins.
See, they fake a play action again this time and get Farrell into the flat. He throws the ball right over the top of Martin. Talking about Lomax, it's a wonder he got rid of the ball as well as he did, because Martin was getting good penetration and was right in his face on the play, number 75.
So a 1st down to the 32 now for the Cardinals. 5:44 left in the game. Lomax to Anderson. He's got the pulling Sharp ahead of him. He got the block he needed, and he's got the 1st down.
Boy,
Louis Sharp did a fine job on that play.
That was a counter play. Louis Sharp, number 67, the left tackle, was pulling to his right and really threw a great block in the open field. Watch the block that he makes to provide good running room for Anderson. Watch, here he comes. Look at 67. Good running position, pumping the arms, good and low, makes a good shot on Kenny Hill, number 48, that provides a running room for O.J. Anderson.
6'4", 260, running like that in the open field. You can see why Kenny Hill just went down and tried to take the block on as best he could. 1st down now at the 45. Lomax to Anderson again.
Banks, boy, what a great player he is. Well, of course, you know, they're all doing such a great job, and Banks has really improved a great deal from a year ago. I guarantee you that. Banks, number 58. Watch him, number 58, coming across, reading the play, eludes the block, gets to the inside, and makes the tackle. See, the linebacker, the back had good position on him, but he gave him a little dipsy-do inside and made the tackle.
They just close on you. Banks, the leading tackler coming into this game. He had 11 solo tackles this year against the Raiders. 3rd-year man out of Michigan State. From the 47, 2nd down now, 7 yards to go.
They got to get the ball to their tight end a little bit more than they have to. Doug Marsh.
Anderson into the giant end of the field, close to another 1st down. He's approaching 8,000 yards now in his career with that run. Let's see if he got the 1st down.
I guarantee you, Anderson, had he been playing in Los Angeles or New York,
there it is, 8,001, Hank. Go ahead.
Had he been playing in Los Angeles or New York, or a team that won consistently, everybody in the country would know an awful lot more about Anderson than they do right now.
Well, the next step is to move 10th all time. He needed 138 yards to go ahead of Larry Zonka. 3rd down, they were a yard short from the 46 of New York. That's Ron Wolfley in motion. Penalty flag.
Was that too much time?
Well, what I'm wondering.
False start, right tackle, offense.
Boy, those just kill you, don't you? You've got a 3rd and 1, and now you're 3rd and 6, and you have to change your play call, I would assume. Boy, you think Gene Stallings hasn't lived a lifetime in the first 5 weeks of his rookie season?
He's probably looking for the gas pipe on that sideline.
From the 49 now, 3rd down and 6. Smith to the near side. Marsh is split closer to the line, and further out is Chaz Fox.
The back is even with a quarterback safety. Nope, I guess they're going to throw it. Sometimes, here they go up on top.
Lomax to Smith. Collins is there. Smith's got it. can't cover it much tighter than that, and still J.T. Smith made the catch.
You can't cover it any better than that. You can't throw it any better than that. He put the ball. You talk about putting it right on the money. Look at this. He makes a little move, and he doesn't get much of a bump on him. Talking about Collins. Look at the ball's coming right over the top. Now Collins starts to look for the ball a little bit too soon, but he still makes the catch. Goes right through there. You can't cover it much better than that.
45 yards. Lomax, who's had to battle for everything he can get this year, joyously able to make the connection there. And you said it well. It was both ends of the deal. Very well done. The throwing and the receiving. First and goal now, 6-yard line.
This would be a good time for a play-action fake right here and play-action back. See if they do it. No.
Anderson is stuck. There's just no place to go because Marshall waiting in the hole was there.
When you got first and goal in this situation, Gary, a first and 10 play-action pass can be very effective. It's the best time to throw the ball rather than wait till the obvious third and long situation to throw the pass.
Well, anyway, they back up at least a yard, maybe 2 on the play. It'll be second and goal at the 8-yard line.
See, on first and 10, you got an option of the run or the pass, and they don't know what's coming now. Second and long, they expect to pass, and of course you can be in trouble.
That makes sense. Stump Mitchell now into the game. Anderson comes out. Farrell and Mitchell in the backfield. This is Stump in motion. Second and goal. Lomax, end zone. No, he dropped it. He had it, I believe, and then dropped it. J.T. Smith, who made the outstanding catch earlier, Hank, he had both feet in. He had it momentarily. Let's look at it again.
Let's see what happens. Here's 84, left part of your screen, comes into the inside. Now he breaks to the outside. They're rolling out on the play. Well, you can't see it very well.
But the official, I think, was ready to give it to him. And then,
here we are. We'll get a better shot of it. He gets pushed off out to the outside. Double front and back, and the inside. You still can't see it very well. They had double coverage on it. They had the right coverage.
They had the right play call, too. But
they might put that on the machine upstairs, Gary.
You think that's what they're going to do? That's what we're doing. Yeah. We're having our second replay now. The Cardinals, of course, glad to have another shot at it. Let's look at this one. Both feet were in, but there it gets away. What do you think?
Well, it looks like he had possession inside the playing field and lost it when he went out. School's out after he...
So let's see what the determination is going to be. Again, Art McNally.
From what I could see of that picture, I would think it's a touchdown, but you don't get a good view of it, but evidently not.
Nope. Standing, incomplete.
Third and goal at the 8.
So you don't see it very well. There.
I don't think he had it.
The only thing is, they must not have had possession of it when he went out. Had he had possession, you have to have both feet in and also possession. And from the angle we saw, you couldn't tell whether he had that possession.
Well, then watching the official, Hank, he was ready to give it to him. And then all of a sudden, as he disappeared out of bounds, it got away, and he almost in midair changed his signal. You can watch him down here.
Yeah, but you don't see the ball, you see. That's the problem. You don't see whether he has the ball or not, or whether it's sliding down underneath there. It looks like it is. And as a result, he doesn't. You've got to have both feet in and possession, and evidently he did not have possession.
Well, if it doesn't count, it's third and goal at the 8. Taking a long time, Hank, to determine what could be a touchdown.
The only question here is, did he have possession?
There's Art McNally, still looking at it.
Yep, Art McNally up there.
Supervisor of officials in the NFL.
Let's see if we can see the possession part of it. But you can't, you see. You really can't see it from that angle. But that's the question. Did he have possession or did he not? Definitely the first part of it, the feet were in. The next thing goes to the hands. Did he have possession? That's the questionable thing right now.
Well, the way the year's been going for Gene Stallings, I don't think he expects it to go in his favor. He's been talking about this all year long.
Well, the percentages are in his favor. All the bad ones the other way. The percentages are in their favor.
Well, we've had a considerable delay here.
I wish I could be more decisive and more conclusive, but I can't see what happened on the sideline, watching the pictures.
Here we go.
See what they call.
After a review by the official upstairs, it is inconclusive. We will go with the play.
See, and that's fair because you can't tell. See, there again. There you see the ball. Now he's got both feet inbound, and he has to have possession of the football before he goes out. And you can't tell whether I don't think he can tell, and it looks like the ball is sliding through, which means he didn't have possession.
I don't think he had possession. I really don't.
No,
the initial point was that you keep watching their replay, and you can certainly doubt yourself. 3rd and goal at the 8. We'll see if it's going to be a significant call. Lomax, incomplete. So now it's 4th and goal from the 8. Intended for Marsh, the tight end. Well, Hank, you've got 2:18. You just settle for the field goal here and then try to get another crack at it, or you go for it?
No, I think you got to go for it. I don't think with 2:18 left, you got a shot here. You got to go for. You got to take the shot.
Okay, that's what they're going to do. They're listening to you. 4th and goal from the 8. Chaz Fox will be split out. J.T. Smith to the near side. Marsh is in a slot to the left, now moving up from the shotgun formation.
They got to try to throw the ball to Marsh. He's one-on-one and looks like a linebacker to our left side.
Some movement. Martin drawn off. We think it's Chilton, the right side guard, playing in place of the injured Bostic, and that's what it is.
5 yards.
Actually, Hank, it might give you a little more operating room on this next play.
Yeah, you got to throw the ball. It gives you a little bit more, another 5 yards. But, I think what they're going to try to do if they maintain the same coverage, they got Taylor out there one-on-one on Marsh, and the other 2 guys are double covered. So if you go to anybody, you want to go to Marsh single coverage with Taylor. Let's see if that's what they do.
So they have 5 more yards that the Giants have to defend if you want to look at it from the Cardinals' positive standpoint.
All right, it's the same thing. See, they're double covering the outside guy. It looks like you either got to go with the outside man or Marsh on the left side. Let's see what they do.
4th and goal from the 12. Lomax is going to have to hurry. Banks got him. Carl Banks stormed through, and the Cardinals' drive comes to a halt.
Well, you got to be critical, I'm sure, the people in St. Louis of the St. Louis offense. But here again, you've got to give that defense an awful lot of credit. Look at Martin. Look at Banks. But nobody touched Banks, see?
That's probably an understatement. Unscathed, he got through.
Reminder that for those of you watching this game, except for those of you in New York, you'll be seeing the Dallas Cowboys against the Denver Broncos. Now, next Sunday, the NFL Today will start at 12:30 Eastern Time. The Philadelphia Eagles, who are apparently going to upset Atlanta today, will be taking on the Giants. The Washington Redskins have an appointment in Dallas, and the St. Louis Cardinals will take on Tampa Bay. Our coverage starts at 12:30 p.m. or 3:30 Eastern Time on CBS. Now let's send you back to Gary Bender.
Brent, thank you very much. Hank, let's go back to that last series. So much happened, but you were very much on the situation on 1st and goal at the 8 that they went to a running play rather than throwing the football.
Well, they haven't been able to run the ball that well against the Giant defense, and now everything is reduced. The field is much shorter on the 8-yard line. You have all those big people in a small area. If you're going to succeed, you ought to throw the ball on 1st and 10. That's what I've always felt. And, of course, if I knew anything about coaching, I'd still be coaching. So that's just an observation of the thing.
Well, you've got a better job now, right? Up to the 22. Well, Gene Stallings lost, you might recall, the first game of this year against the Rams at the 1-yard line when he ran out of time. So he's had 2 of his losses be decided right around that end zone area.
The tough thing is that, it's got to be frustrating for his team because they're playing hard. That's what you expect of it. The coach has to make that team play hard, and they got to play smart. They made a lot of mistakes there again today, but they played hard, but playing hard is not enough to win the game sometimes.
Well, it's going to be a 2nd down and 8 as we have 2:08 left to go in this game. Bill Sims and the Giants will be be glad to take this 7-point lead home and win their 4th in a row. Tonight on CBS, the all-new 60 Minutes. Want to start a war? As long as the enemy are communists, a retired American 2-star general, now a civilian, will run your war for you. Meeting tonight on 60 Minutes. Then it's the conclusion of a 2-part Murder, She Wrote, followed by part 1 of The Last Frontier, starring Linda Evans and Jason Robards Jr. Murder here today for the Cardinals.
Yeah, it really has been, but I tell you got to be impressed with that New York Giant team. And I talked to Billy Belichick, the defensive coordinator of the Giants, last night, and he said, you know, we're going to make them play football, and we're going to make them earn everything they get, and that's exactly what they've done here this afternoon. They've made them earn everything, and that hasn't been enough to get the job done.
You got to win games like this, don't you, Hank, to get the Super Bowl?
Yeah, it doesn't make any difference. Just as I said, I hate to belabor the point, but just win the game. Don't worry about anything. Just win the game, because you can always do something about the mistakes. You can't do anything about the score.
Joe Morris across the 25 to the 26.
Plus the fact, as a coach, he gives you a lot of good reasons to get on your team to make sure that they understand they can't take it easy, that it's tough ahead, they got to work and they got to struggle and all those kind of things, because it means an awful lot. As long as you keep winning, those things make a lot of sense.
A 2-minute warning now has just been executed, or will be. Of course, we have game 2 of this doubleheader coming up. Dallas and Denver, key interconference matchup. Denver hosts this guy, Herschel Walker, who just gets better every game. Walker, of course, was so tough on the Giants in the first game of this year, and John Elway, I don't think there's anybody any better in the National Football League playing that position. That's next. Cowboys and Broncos coming up here on CBS Sports. So Phil Simms looks as though his string is going to end of throwing a touchdown pass in 9 straight games. The only touchdown today, a Joe Morris 1-yard run.
Well, he could care less about that. The only thing he's just happy about, going to be happy about in 2 minutes if they win the game, that's the only thing that really bothers him or concerns him.
Let's document some of the mistakes that have occurred in this game as far as the Cardinals are concerned. Of course, some of the strategy involved is, in the estimation of the coach, not been too wise, but look at this. Quarterback sacks allowed, penalty yards, 95. It all seemingly comes in bunches. 3rd down now, 4 yards to go. Simms, interesting to come out throwing here, Hank. Incomplete. Does that surprise me? Stops the clock, brings up 4th down, and gives the Cardinals a new chance.
Yep, 158. But that's what they want to do. They want to get a 1st down to keep possession. They drop the ball. That's all that happened.
Hank, a guy who grew up in this area, Yogi Berra, said it ain't over until it's over, and it isn't over. The Cards are still in this thing.
They are, and they have to make some decisions right now, Gary. They have to decide whether they should rush the kicker or drop off. In my opinion, they should just drop off and hope for the good field position, because they might rush the kicker and have a penalty involved. See?
Well, the Giants did not play conservatively on that 3rd down. They were looking for the 1st down, stopped the clock. With 1:58, the Cardinals will get it. Landetta to punt it. Sakahima backpedals, fumbles it at the 30, gets to the 35, and he gets a very fine return to the 41-yard line with 1:47 left. 3 timeouts. Check that. 1 timeout now left for St. Louis. The line of scrimmage will be the 41-yard line with 1:47 left to go.
St. Louis first and 10. They're on 42.
With 3 timeouts here now. They got 1 time. Yeah, I'm sorry. They got 1 timeout. Yeah. So they've really got to try to keep the ball outside, moving the ball down the field. And if they catch one in the middle, then of course they have to huddle up quickly or use one of their timeouts.
Lomax, there's up the middle though, and Anderson, good second effort, fumble the ball, hit from behind, and who's got it? The Giants have recovered at their own 48-yard line. So Gene Stallings is going to have to wait another week to pick up his first NFL victory. They will go to Tampa Bay next week. He's not showing a lot of emotion there, but boy, he's got to be churning inside.
Well, of course, here again, you have to give the New York Giants an awful lot of credit. They made the reception, and they knocked the ball loose from a very outstanding running back, Otis Anderson. And but here again, that was a great job on the part of the defense of the Giants.
At the 48 now, they'll just kill the remaining time. St. Louis with only one timeout. Sims going down.
That's the other problem, Gary, I mentioned. You got to try to throw the ball outside. You throw it in the middle. There's so many people around the middle area that if you do have a problem like the one that just existed or a tip ball, you're going to wind up with an interception or a fumble recovery. I was surprised that they threw the ball inside on the very first play with only one timeout left.
For those in the New York area, next Sunday it'll be Buddy Ryan's Eagles against the Giants. And you know, the Eagles last week jumped on top of the Rams 34-0 after losing their first 3 games. And this game shapes up now as going to be a real struggle.
Well, a lot of people have the wrong impression about Philadelphia. You say they lose their first 3 games, but they're just learning that 46. They're responding very, very well to Buddy Ryan. We saw him last week, and they played extremely well against the Rams. They're going to have a lot more success than people thought they were going to have, and they could be very effective from here on in because they've got a lot of good football players, a great defensive line, 2 good running backs, an excellent tight end in Spagnola, a fine quarterback, a good defensive backs. They could be dangerous.
So at the 45, no timeouts left now for the Cardinals. With 1:30 left in the game. Bill Parcells with this victory will even out at 500, 28-1. And this guy will be 0-5. But if there's any solace in this, his team played a much better football game than they did Monday night.
No solace.
No solace. You speak of experience.
That's right.
Well, we have a little unhappiness now down below as 1:23 left in the game. Let's go back to New York. Here's Brent Musburger.
Well, Gary, as some baseball fans in the New York area already know, Don Mattingly gave it his best shot today and went 2 for 4. He winds up 357 to Mattingly's 352. Next up for the Red Sox, the playoffs against the California Angels. Back to Gary.
I will tell Bill Parcells about that. He was concerned whether Boggs was going to win the batting title. As we said earlier, he's a big Red Sox fan. They got everything smoothed out here. Cooler heads have prevailed, and we'll continue down the last 1 minute of this game.
That was one of those boys will be boys deals. You know, nothing really happened.
I want to thank our producer, Bob Dekas, our director, Peter Bleckner, associate director, Richard Drake, our father, Bob Brennan, our statistician, Danny Moore, for their help today. They were all over this game. So the time winding down. A bitter pill for Gene Stallings and the Cardinals. Tampa Bay coming up next for them. The Giants doesn't get any easier with Philadelphia and Seattle, but Bill Parcells' team now has won 4 in a row, 4-1 on the year.
Reiterate again, Gary, watch the Eagles because they have a lot of potential. They're going to create a lot of problems for teams.
I don't think you need to tell that because Bill was convinced this was going to be a tough game. You won't have to tell him that next week will be that way. Well, I've seen this guy grow a lot. I went to school with Bill Parcells, and what an outstanding coach he is and is becoming. We spent a couple hours visiting with him, and it was a very informative time to kind of pick his brain and to see where he's coming from and the years of maturity. And the Giants, who were favored to win this NFC East by most people at the start of the year, still will be a game back of the Redskins, who won today. Denver and Dallas will be coming up next. The Giants have got the clock stopped with 7 seconds to go. Elway and Walker, there's a couple of headliners, huh, Coach?
Well, Elway is really a franchise player, and he's getting better and better all the time. I think he's going to be one of the great quarterbacks of the National Football League, maybe this year and certainly in years to come. He's terrific.
That game will not be seen in New York City because of our NFL contractual agreement. Next week in New York, you'll see the Eagles and the Giants. Last 7 seconds.
Giants 4th and 19 at their own 35.
So the Giants, who last year defeated the Cardinals 27-17 and 34-3, going to pull this one out and go back to the city, the 13-6, and here's Sims throwing the football. Why in the world did they throw the football? Now they have 2 seconds left. Coach, I call upon your expertise.
I don't have any expertise in that particular case. I don't understand it either. I can't understand why they would do what they just did.
Well, with 2 seconds left now, it's going to give the ball to the Cardinals. The Cardinals are going to have it at the 35-yard line. Well, they've got a chance for one of those Big Ben plays here. There's the update. Washington winning today.
That's incredible. I can't understand it either.
I absolutely, and it's mind-boggling. They've got a crack at pulling this game out on the last play of the game. There's movement again.
Louis Sharp.
Holy cow, that was a costly penalty earlier. They had a movement when they were inside the 10.
And he's too big to hide.
Yeah, he tried to hide.
Start, number 67, offense, simulated the start of a play.
Well, Hank, when we leave this game, I want to have you explain why they did that. We've got to think about this one.
No, don't ask me. Ask Parcells. I didn't throw the ball. Ask him why they did it.
Well, anyway, wouldn't this be something if the Cardinals here from their own, or from the Giants 40, could pull this game out?
Maybe they threw with the idea they hoped they would intercept it and the game would be over.
Lomax, last gasp effort, not well thrown, up and broken up, and that'll do it. So an unusual finish to this game. Mark Collins defending on the play. So once again, the final score, the New York Giants 13, the St. Louis Cardinals 6. Don't forget, coming up next.